So there was no legal contract. The plaintiff just did it for love. What the defendant is really saying is that there are no specifics, there are no agreements, and in fact, the plaintiff shouldn't be paid for being nice. Does the plaintiff agree?
Well, what do you have to say about this, ma'am?
Okay, I have statements that she has told people to, that there was a payment agreement of $20 an hour that people have talked to her about. In fact, my aunt, who also helped her after me, has a case coming up next week also. She has I have a statement from her.
With this person? With your
Correct.
So, your other aunt sued her sister, I guess?
Correct, for
over the same
non-payment
thing?
also, for the same thing, for the same amount.
They filed
Now,
together.
I have a statement from Brian Stockton, who's sitting in the courtroom today, who is my husband. He's sitting here, and he could tell you every day that I was at that house helping her. And I didn't have a problem helping her, but I knew I was getting paid. I have 2 children, 2 little jobs, and I traveled all those hours because I was to be paid. And she offered to pay me. She even physically told Brian I would be paid. I do have one more statement that Rita had emailed me, stating me that she hasn't received any money from the insurance company yet,
Okay.
just so I know. So this here telling me is that
Who's Diane FICA?
Diane FICA is her sister
my
who
sister.
took over after me.
Okay. And who is Susan Bolus?
Susan Boris, that's another one of
Boris?
that's
That's my
another one of her
sister.
sisters, my aunt.
That's the
Another
first one
one.
I called to help me out to get into the shower the first day.
It says here, I, Susan Boris, sister of Rita Grimes and Diane FICA, and aunt to Ann Grabowski, was well aware that Ann Grabowski and Diane FICA took care of Rita Grimes with her personal hygiene, cooking, cleaning, and driving for her after being in an accident in August 2004. Rita Grimes had stated to me that she made her son, John Grimes, her personal caregiver to be paid by the insurance company after firing the home care companies sent by the insurance company, that she would be paying Diane and Ann from the check that her son would receive for the 24-hour around-the-clock care she was receiving from the family, her son and my sister Diane and Ann Grabowski. She told me she needed someone with her in the morning until early afternoon so her son could sleep, since he was up late into the early morning and then early morning hours, and her husband worked. There were several occasions when I needed to call Rita Grimes home to reach Diane FICA and or Ann Grabowski between the hours of 8 a.m. to at least 1 p.m. And any questions, please call. Constance Fournier.
That's my mother.
That's your mother.
Her sister.
Okay. I am Constance Fournier, sister of Rita Grimes and mother of Ann Grabowski. Please know that this is a very sensitive issue, for I have deep feelings for all concerned. The reason that I'm writing this letter to the courts is because I do have firsthand knowledge of the work that Ann had been doing after the accident my sister had encountered. As my sister had released some of the agencies that were assigned to her help, my daughter Ann was called by Rita, her aunt, to please help her, for no one was there to get her day started. After a few days that Ann was working, I did have an occasion to talk to my sister Rita, and she said how grateful she was to have her there, that she would be paid as soon as she received her checks. On many occasions, Rita and I, talked. She kept telling me that she would hope the payments to her would come soon. We both talked about how this would help Ann. And then it just goes on here about what else that you did for her, Ms. Grabowski. And then Diane FICA, I'm not going to read this whole thing. She basically says that she's here to collect monies that are owed. Rita fired the care helpers, and that she had because the girl didn't show up. We talked about that. One day in October, Rita had called me after Ann left and told me that Ann had shown up there drunk. She said that she could smell it on Ann's breath and told Ann that she didn't need her, that her husband would help her. She asked me to take over and that she would let Ann know that she didn't need her anymore. Rita called Ann and told her that she felt bad, that she had to come over early every day to help her, so I would be taking over. All right.
Your Honor, can I
Go
say
ahead.
something?
Go ahead.
First of all, my sister Sue has never had any discussions with me at all. I've never discussed any of my financial business with her, nor my sister Connie have I discussed anything. None of these people have even been to my house since I've been in the accident. My sister Connie came with Ann to bring over the calendar and dropped off a cherry tort cake. That's it. They've not had any discussions with me, much less visited me at all since the accident. None of these people have had any communications with me at all.
Well, I'd hate to be at this family reunion. The legal issue, is there a binding contract? The real issue, the law versus love. Let's see what side the judge comes down on.
There are too many people here talking about money for me to believe that there wasn't some agreement for somebody to get paid, okay? If people do this out of their love of their hearts, then they don't end up in court, okay? And I've got statements here from the people I read earlier, Brian Stockdale, Diane Fica, Constance Fournier, and Susan Bolus, all of which discuss money for services performed. So I do believe that there was some sort of an agreement here in my heart of hearts about who was going to get paid. The problem you have, Ms. Grabowski, is you got to prove the case. You're the plaintiff in this case,
Correct.
so the burden is on you to prove it. And essentially, I have nothing in writing between the two of you that says that there was any agreement to do anything. And when there's no contract, where there's nothing in writing, and I have two people in front of me that are disputing whether or not essentially a contract exists, in this case a contract to perform some type of home care services, I'm in a difficult position to award money based upon that because I don't have anything. If you wanted to do something like this, Ms. Grabowski, then what you should have done is got some sort of written agreement signed by you and by your aunt saying what you were going to do and exactly what the fee was going to be for that, so that if there's a dispute and it ends up in court, then the judge has got something to base a decision on. And I don't have that here.
Well, I didn't expect to be here.
Well, I'm sure you didn't, and this is the...
That was my aunt. I didn't really expect this to happen.
Well,
at all.
And that's what happens when you have agreements with family
Correct.
members to do something like
Correct.
this. You don't always expect to be in court. So I have to dismiss the case. I don't necessarily feel good about doing it because I think that there was some agreement here for payment, but legally, I don't have anything to go on. I don't have enough in front of me from a legal basis to award any money based upon this lawsuit, based upon the allegations that I'm hearing. And so for that reason, the case is going to be dismissed.
This isn't love court, it's law court. Two legal principles. First, the plaintiff has the burden of proof. And secondly, a contract must be in writing. A cat calendar was not going to do it. Simply put, the plaintiff didn't prove her case. Also remember, this was a car accident and no-fault benefits apply. Check with a lawyer specializing in no-fault car accidents if you have questions. And if you find yourself involved in a dispute that you can't resolve, small claims court may be the answer. Thanks for watching Case Closed. I'm Charlie Langton.